Now, Joseph, this letter picked up quite a lot of attention, didn't it, over the past couple of days?
Yeah.
Have you been surprised by that?
Oh, yeah. It was just a piece of paper with writing on it. And then...
Essentially, can you read us the letter?
Oh, OK. Do you want me to read the whole of it?
I mean, yeah.
OK.
Please.
Right. To Anne, my name is Joseph Hughes and I am 11. I live in Preston, Lancashire, and I go to a specialist school. And I was diagnosed with autism when I was 5. I like to watch you on the taste, and now I have been watching you in the jungle. I think you are very brave for going in the jungle. I couldn't go there because there are too many bugs. You are very clever. Sometimes people are mean to me because I'm autistic, but watching you makes me see that other people can have autism too, and maybe I can have a cool job like you when I am older. Do you like Thunderbirds? I love them. My favourite is Thunderbird too. I have drawn you a picture. I hope you like it. Good luck in the jungle. I hope you win. Love from Joseph.
That's brilliant, Joseph.
Lovely,
well done.
and
And then you brought your
letter.
Thunderbird there. You didn't bring Thunderbird 2, though. You brought Thunderbird 1.
I did.
Yeah.
Philip's eyeing up that.
See, I've got toy envy. I just love that. I'm a big Thunderbirds fan as well. Have you got the full set?
Well, I just need Thunderbird 2 and 4 yet, then.
You haven't got those yet?
No, but you can get Thunderbird 4 with Thunderbird 2, so...
Well, Thunderbird 4 is in Thunderbird 2, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
so yeah, he's...
we've got to sort that out.
Yes.
So we'll get our team to sort that out. We may not be able to do it immediately, but you'll have the full set of Thunderbirds
right.
soon.
You will. They've just said in our reel they'll make that happen for you.
Make that happen, thank you.
How could we not?
How did you feel when you wrote that letter? What does it mean to you to see Anne in there?
It means a lot to see her, for him especially, that he can see there's people with autism on the TV, that, you know, it's not just how he feels. There's other people, and they're not all bad, if you know what I mean, because he found it quite hard having autism, being different, but he can see Anne's out there doing amazing things,
Yes.
and she's got it too, and that's just really good for him.
And she has been quite extraordinary.
She has.
And you can see, and I suppose for you guys, what is life like? I remember the one bit, and I thought, well, that's really brave, but so honest when she was saying, right, OK, she struggled after that first night.
Yeah.
And then said, I'd like to get everything in order in my head. And once she'd assimilated everything, then it became a little easier for her.
Yeah.
What's life like with you guys?
Quite similar. He likes to know what's happening, when it's happening. He likes his routine as it is. Things have to be certain ways for him. Once it is, he's very happy and very easy, but he does have to have it so he knows what's happening in his life.
And for you, Laura, this was very similar to Anne. This was a later diagnosis.
Yeah, I was 45, and I'd known since I was about 5 that there was something exceptionally different about me. But I also had this feeling that I had to hide it, even that young, that I had to kind of pretend to be just like everyone else. So, and I think girls particularly are very good at copying their friends and peers and people at school. And so I just did that for numerous years.
And so when you... Obviously, you said you felt a bit different. What was it that prompted you to see whether or not you could get a diagnosis?
I was diagnosed quite right. I'd been misdiagnosed with a number of things over the years, and that's very true of most women with autism. But I was diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder. I had to go into hospital to have some tests. I had an epic meltdown, and the nurse just recognised it as an autistic meltdown. So she was very apologetic and said, sorry, we get a lot of people with autism coming through here feeling like this. We should have done better. And I thought it's a bit like when you go into hospital with appendicitis and they chop off your leg, and she's got me muddled up with someone else. And it's, but I kind of went along with it because she was taking me to a quiet, cool room and giving me a sandwich. And then afterwards, I started reading about autism, and I realised that even though I'm a journalist and even though I've covered the subject before, I had a very stereotypical view of it. And I thought it was all kind of, 8-year-old boys. I'd never seen an autistic woman before. I'd never seen an autistic girl before. And I kind of thought, because my job is in communication, that I couldn't be autistic because obviously, it's often described as a communication deficit. So, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise.
And I mean, you must be thrilled with sort of what Anne's done, talking about it so openly on such a big platform, particularly being diagnosed so late on.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think what she's done for representation is amazing for everybody, you know, for somebody of Joseph's age, for older women. And I also think that it's important for women who don't realise that they're autistic to see someone like that, because I'm sure that there are loads of light bulbs going off in people's heads right now and they're thinking, that's just like me.
When you found out, when you realised, OK, that's what it is, did it change your life once you've been able to put it in context and who you were?
Yeah, hugely. It changed my life in many ways, but mainly because I stopped feeling like I was failing. And I started feeling like I was actually really quite successful. And it just, a bit like the end of The Sixth Sense, where he suddenly realises and everything falls into place. It was really like that. And lots of autistic women who write to me say, oh, I keep having these flashbacks of thinking, oh, that's why that happened when I was 12 or when I was 17 or last week or whatever. So I think knowing yourself is really important. And also, I think that by getting a diagnosis, you become part of a community. Although, having said that, there are many self-diagnosed people who are also part of that community. But just by knowing that you are autistic, there are people out there that you can talk to who really get you.
What's she like for you as a friend?
Anne's I always describe her as a very special flower. And she's not someone who walks into the room and announces the fact that she's on the spectrum, but when you realise that, everything makes sense about her. I've been on a quiz league team with Anne since long before I joined the Chase, and it's interesting to spend time with her outside in sort of a social environment, because there's certain things that make her uneasy, and we make allowances for that. And as the rest of the quiz league have learned about her diagnosis, people have started to realise she's not being rude. It's just that she doesn't like, you know, the drunk people in the corner over there. There are certain allowances that we understand her now. The rest of my quiz team, is myself and my mother, and we have a relative who has Asperger's, and another colleague on the quiz team, Sam, his sister has Asperger's. So we were immediately very understanding, and we've been spreading the knowledge of the condition and the fact that it's not it makes Anne special who she is.
Well, it was brave of
there are
her
certain
to
things
go
that
in.
do trigger her. Yeah.
So there are certain things that trigger her. What have you seen? Because we did mention that sort of tricky first night and the tricky challenge yesterday. What have you seen that you know is challenging for her?
I mean, last night in particular was a very hard watch with the Bush Tucker trial. Anne's not somebody who shows her emotions very readily, so to see her tearing up and to see her panicking like that was really hard to watch. And I was so glad that she noticed that she was getting overwhelmed and removed herself from the situation, which is something that's quite difficult to do. That's going to be the biggest challenge for her in the jungle, is being able to remove herself from the tricky situations. And the tricky situation may be being tired, being hungry, or the other people being a little bit overwhelming.
And I suppose there's a lot of eyes on her as well. I think that obviously must play a part. Like we said before, this is completely out of the norm for her. This is out of her routine. Do you think she's going to last the course of the show?
I hope she lasts as long as she feels she's capable of doing.
Yeah.
I hope that she feels strong enough that if she becomes overwhelmed, she puts herself first and removes herself from the situation. I can see that it's very stressful for her, but on the other hand, Anne is a very, very determined woman, and one of the things she was desperate to do was to go on the show and to show people who have ASD that anything is possible, that you can challenge yourself, and to spread the word about the condition and about how the different ways it affects people and the different ways that people who are neurotypical should react to people who have ASD.
Well, she's absolutely doing that.
She's, I mean, even if she were to decide now, OK, this is not for me, she's already done her job, as we've seen with Joseph here. You say, you know, sort of enjoy it, get the most out of it you possibly can. She is certainly showing us a very important side to her, helping a lot of people, but don't cook.
Yes, yeah. Stay away from the cooking, Anne, please.
She's not a.
She's not a domestic goddess.
OK.
And Joseph, do you think she's going to win?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, we'd love her too, wouldn't we?
It's been lovely to meet you, and thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
We'll sort out the Thunderbird
Cheers, mate.
situation
Right.
for you,
Yep.
yeah? We'll sort that out.
I saw him, went in just before the beginning of the show, went over to say hello, and he said, 5 gold rings, guy.
Brilliant.
That's because you are.
That's
It's
true.
very true.
It's very
you
true.
can't argue with that.